Me a seat. Okay. All right, I'm ready. Oh, you're not doing it?
I would be happy to. I wouldn't do it with the charisma that you have, though. We live here,
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you, Caroline. Caroline's our general manager, and back in the back with the camera on me now is Woody, who is our owner, and his wife is here somewhere. So she's still in the office. Got to keep her working. Okay, Caroline, I'm going to swap places with you because I need to punch buttons over here unless you want to punch some.
Would you guys like it if I turn down the lights a little bit to be able to see the screen? Okay, I'll turn down the lights over here.
There's plenty of room between you all, so don't worry. No. Okay. I will tell you right now, if I act like I don't know what I'm talking about, it's only because I finished this at 9:30 this morning. So it's like, what's the next page? So, but most of you who do know me know that's the way we fly, right? So this is our clinic for the fourth quarter. And all that means is I'm going to give you some hikes and events that we're going to do in the next 3 months. And I'll try to keep you abreast of what's happening next year and beyond. But first, I'm going to tell you that we have a guest tonight that I'm really very fond of, Melanie Harsha, who is our HOCA representative. And she's going to play with us tonight, and you're going to love her like I do. She's really a special one, and we're going to play some games with y'all here in just a few minutes. First, I'm going to get through this kind of the little things that are the very beginning of all of them. So if you've been to one of my hikes or one of my clinics before, you know that I have a few things that I'm going to go over real quickly, but we're going to spend most of the time trying to build your dream and your confidence to go out and play on the trail with me. And those of you who know me know that when I say play, we do play. We want you to laugh. I want that child within to come out and have a good time, a safe time, and a knowledgeable and educational time, but a fun time. We don't leave anybody behind, and all you have to do is stop and take a picture. I know to stop too, and we can breathe, okay? So it doesn't matter if what your level of hiking is. All right, so here we go. And I'm going to talk fast tonight, just like if I were on vitamin B12 or something, but if not, we learned better. Uh, but we're going to talk fast because I want to make sure that Melanie has a lot of time back there with one-on-one and with any technical questions and try on shoes or whatever you want to do with Melanie. She's a good one. Okay, things that we're going to be talking about briefly would be layering and the importance of wearing layers when you go out in the winter. This is one of the probably most dangerous times to hike simply because of regulating your own body and knowing the weather. You know, that's a good thing to talk about for just a second because we've got a storm coming. A friend of mine who just did a presentation here, a couple months ago about the weather, she's with NOAA, sent me a message and tells me that tomorrow night and the following night, especially Friday night, are going to be the times that this area can get hit with 5 to 6 inches of rain. So I would say if you can stay off a trail, please do. The trees are going to be loose, the ground's going to be wet than it hasn't been, and it could be easily, uprooting trees. So protect yourself during that time. Protect yourself all the time. I don't want to see any of my hikers coming back in a body bag from a rescue team. Okay? All right, here we go. So we're going to talk about layering. We'll talk a little bit about custom pack fitting. I won't say much about it other than the fact if you want to buy a backpack, let me know because we'll get someone with you, myself or Caroline or one of them, one of the sales folks that are very qualified and will make sure you're properly fit. It is not a comfortable experience or a fun experience if your backpack doesn't fit properly or if it's too heavy. You'll be finding canned food or something along the trail. I guess Stephanie and two or three of us were out one time, very, very, probably 8, 9 years ago or before I actually got here, I don't know. But this guy from Chicago and a couple of other of his friends were chefs. And we ran into them at one of I think it was Siler's Ball. Siler's Bald, and which is the shelter. And they were just huffing and puffing, and they were trying to give away all this food, canned food. Canned food. They had 50 pounds of canned food in their pack, and they thought we were dumb enough to take it. Wasn't going to happen. We didn't want it because what were we going to do with it? You can't, and you don't want bears to get it. So finally, they were trying to leave it there, and of course, we wouldn't let them leave it. So they had to go back out. They left, took it all back out. I don't know what they did with it when they left us, but they did not stay on the trail. Canned food won't work. So we're going to go into a lot of things about how to pack your bag, but on a personal time rather than this time, okay? What we're going to talk tonight about is the hikes and trails that we're going to be talking about or this quarter, and appropriate footwear, obviously, with Melanie here. Okay, layering. I want you to know I had on 5 layers of down jackets there. 5 layers, just like the little guy in the Christmas story. You just keep taking it off and taking it off. But sometimes that's the point in layering, to be able to start with a base layer, one that you can live with by itself, and gradually get down to that. I don't like to hike hot. Now, that doesn't mean I don't like hot weather. It simply means that if I'm already hot, I start feeling weak and I start not wanting to go, wanting to hike. So I come out of my jacket. I usually am a wimp and don't start out cold either. So I'll wimp around and have my jacket on for a few minutes, but within about 100 yards, I'm coming out of clothes legally. So that's part of that layering, knowing what is comfortable for you. Where in the winter, it's really important to know what your time is, what your heart rate, your energy level is, where you're going to start perspiring. Because what happens if you've got on a bunch of clothes and you start perspiring? You get wet, right? Even with wicking clothes, your body's going to be a little bit wet there. It's pulling it away, but you don't want to be wet in 30-degree weather, right? I keep waiting on somebody to sneak up behind me with a pie or something, since we did that to somebody the other day. Smack right in her face. Anyway. Okay, we're going to not be worrying about that, right? So layering, to make sure that you know what your perspiration start point is. Because if you start realizing that you're near that with your heart rate or energy level, you need to back off just enough to slow down just enough that you can keep from getting into that where you're really perspiring and losing a lot of fluids. 2 reasons: you don't want to lose a lot of fluids, and in the winter you're going to lose more than actually do in the summer, which is kind of silly, but you do. And the other thing is to not get in trouble with wet clothes and freezing, hypothermia. Okay, so we'll talk more about that. We're talking about clothing here, appropriate wear, apparel. You can either go out like the left side, all stylish and pretty, and I always know a beginning hiker because they're stylish. Everything matches: toenails, fingernails, lipstick. Everything matches. The hair's in place. Shoes, toenail polish. Got to have toenail polish. I know that they're a beginner because they're still conscious of how they look and what other people think of them, what other people are looking at. The other folks are saying, "Oh, let's see, what kind of shoes are you wearing? How did you tie that? Oh, you didn't see mine." Okay? But when you meet that next level and you're not a beginner, you're laughing, Ann. When you're not a beginner, all of a sudden, doesn't matter if fingernails a little chipped. Doesn't matter if you get your nose dirty. Okay? There's dirt on my face all the time right out on a trail. What matters is when you get past that stage, that intermediate stage, and you find yourself meeting your own fear. If you're going across a water crossing that's high in the air, and all of a sudden, like we did, you find that the railing's gone. It's white water under you, about 20 feet down. The railing's gone. The log's got some ice on it, and you've got to go between this tree that's laying on it, work your way through the branches, and get to the other side. You have some choices. Turn around and go back, which if you're out in the middle of the logs, not a great choice. But if you're on the other side, you could try to find another way across. In that case, there wasn't one. It was farther to go back at that point. So we went on across. And the thing that really impressed me was I got across. The gal behind me I knew was terrified of heights. And remember, 20 feet in the air on an icy log without a handle, without a railing? She made it across. I told her, you put your poles in front of you and just walk looking at the log, not into the water. Okay, watch your step, stay in the middle, watch your step, and keep moving. She did. And you know what she did after that? She turned around to help the person behind her. That's when you're a team. That's when I know you are ready, because you're there for that other person and not just yourself, and not just how you look on the trail. Okay? So it's when you reach around behind you at your greatest time of fear to help that person that's coming behind you. Okay? Or you can go like Minnie and me, and we just get rained on. I tried to keep her dry, but neither one of us made it too well. We did have our raincoat on, and we were in pretty good shape under that. But you can see the difference between someone that's conscious of what they look like and those of us like Minnie and I who really don't care. We just go out to have fun. Okay, here we go. Rain gear. We just showed a little bit about rain gear. You can have a rain jacket. You can have a poncho. You could have an umbrella. We do have backpacking umbrellas, which are very, very lightweight. I usually am either in a poncho, which is a joke, because every time we were out on the trail, and Stephanie and Melanie were both with me, and they kept laughing at me because every time they turned around, the wind was blowing, and this purple thing was over my face. And so I couldn't even tell from a picture whether I was coming or going when I was going across the fence. I'm not sure if I was going up or down, because my poncho was covering my face. The back of it was blown up over my head. So there is a time and a place for either choice. Okay? And you'll know how to make that right choice. It's a personal choice. It's not one that I'm going to say, don't ever choose that or don't ever choose this. It's your personal choice. In my case, I'd rather throw a poncho on and keep going instead of taking off my backpack and putting a raincoat on and getting hot and sweaty. But that's just me. And the bicycle doesn't go with us. Here we go, Melanie. Appropriate footwear. There's tons of different reasons and different comfort zones of whether you wear a low-cut shoe, a mid, a high. And Melanie can go over a lot of those questions when you get into the other side. Like I said, I'm not spending a lot of technical time right now simply because I want to make you want to do this. I want you to go play with me. I run out of playmates. So one thing I'm going to add here, if you see on this side, that's a micro spike. Those are called micro spikes. And I have learned over the past that there's two things that are hardly ever out of my car. One of them is my trekking poles, and the other thing's my micro spikes. Because micro spikes may not be any good on dry, hard ground, but they are great in mud. If you need footing, put them on. I don't care. I have them with me winter, summer, spring. They can save your life. We've been on a trail one time before I put them on, and we couldn't stand. I couldn't get up over a rock. Every time I put my foot, I was sliding. It didn't matter what I had on my feet. I had on good boots. put on my micro spikes, and off we just went. So that's something you need. That's something that should be added into your essentials. Okay, because like I said, you don't have to be on a mountain. You don't have to be in snow. If you're trying to get in your front yard and it's muddy, it can help you not to slip and slide. And Melanie's over there shaking her head. She's just gotten. Let's see, you just got off the Pacific Trail a year ago.
I did the CDT.
CDT, okay. And then she just got back from France and
Tour de Mont.
yeah. So I can't tell you anything. she knows, and when she's agreeing with me, I like it. Okay. This is the bottom of the spikes. They're not heavy. They're not going to bother you. If you came in here on them, it'd be kind of like being in probably biking shoes. I don't know. I've not worn the bike ones. I was always scared to get clipped to the pedal. But put me out on a mountain, I can do that. But this isn't where you need them. And I'm not going to keep going with that. I just want you to realize how important it is to have your micro spikes. It's always good to have a hat. I know they tell me I wear too many hats around here or anywhere in my life, but I took a group one time to Belize, and we were out in the jungle in Belize, and I told my group, you need hats, you need caps, you've got to have something on your head. Well, one of my guys forgot, and he got out there with his little bald head uncovered. And that wasn't good. It wasn't good. So we got back to Chattanooga. I was events coordinator in Chattanooga. And about 2 weeks later, he came to me, and he had gotten a lump on his head. And he came to me and said that he'd gone to the doctor, and he understood why I told him to wear a hat, because he'd gotten bitten or an egg deposited into the top of his scalp there. And when the doctor lanced it, it was full of worms, little baby fly maggots. So please keep a hat on. You don't know what might, most of us have thick hair, but it may not be thick enough to prevent from something like that. And I know that's a, pardon? Are there what? Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was probably 30 years ago or more, actually more than that. Okay, but do think of those things, not only for your skin, but for any kind of varmint that may decide to lay its eggs. So we're looking here, you're looking at gaiters on the far side, hats on my head, and gloves. All of these things are things that will be real helpful in regulating your body temperature. And the gaiters, I usually hike in shorts, even if it gets down to about 45, 40. And if it's below 50, I'll put on a pair of gaiters over my legs and then be able to shift in or out of them. Because if we, one of our hikes, we got up from camping and it was 23 degrees, and our first thing to have to do out of the campsite, you weren't there that time, out of the campsite was to walk across a long water crossing up to our knees. And it was cold. but those gaiters helped. I really don't think I felt the coldness of the water. It did keep a lot of the water out of my boots. And I didn't feel that coldness. I did not stop. I did not change clothes or change shoes or socks, because I kept moving. The more I kept moving, the quicker they dried. And honestly, on that particular hike, if I'd stopped every time we got wet, we would still be probably doing it, and that was 10 years or so ago. So just allow things to dry. And Minnie does have her little boots, so don't be worried about her. Natalie, did you see the boots that your mama didn't have? Does your mommy have your boots? Okay, moving on. Maybe. Those who have talked to me and asked me or told me that you don't use trekking poles, I would not have the ability to say probably what was running through my mind. I've had people that have hiked for 30 years without trekking poles, and they never knew they needed them until it was too late. And they came in with 30 or 13 stitches in their face or a broken ankle. There's no way to say enough, and I'm not even going to try. But if you value your life and the friends who love you, your family who loves you, and your doggies who love you and need you, then please use trekking poles. I don't care how good you are, how much you can balance. It can happen in an instant, and you will then know that you'd made a mistake and it was too late, because now you're going to have to be rescued. And I think rescues, it's according to who has to come get you. We're looking at thousands of dollars. You know, if they have to send a helicopter, you're talking at buku thousands. Trekking poles don't cost that much. Okay? So come see us. Let's get those trekking poles and learn how to use them and stay safe. It matters because people love you. Okay? Even the elves, see, they even like them. Once again, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. And I can hear my hikers that know me say, Dolphin, have you drank anything lately? And yes, we're all trying to hydrate more. And as I just said, winter is more important than even summer to make sure that you're well hydrated. Once you have gotten dehydrated, it's going to be a lot harder to get that hydration point back up than it was if you just drank a little bit more and stayed hydrated. Okay? Enough said. And I think there was a thing on calories back in there too. In the winter, you're going to require more calories too to keep your body heat up. Okay, we're down to the fourth quarter, which is October, November, and December. So we're going to have trivia. Everybody, most of you haven't been out with me, so maybe you know some of these hikes. If not, we'll figure something out, okay? All right, this is a hike that we did. It's a popular hike. It's one of the most touristy hikes. This was a Halloween hike, and Deb was playing like the witch of the somewhere, north, south, wherever it was, and she was flying in. So anybody got an idea where we are? No, that would have been splat. Okay. Would you believe there's more rescues at Laurel Falls and Abrams Creek than anywhere else? Probably Gatlinburg also. Yeah. Oh, that one? No. Think, no. Ooh, not by Rich Mountain. Think 441. Think, huh? You're close. It has a cave. It has a cave. Whoa! All right, somebody won. Mm-hmm. This is the Alum Cave Trail. That's just down at the bottom. It's a big old rock. Once you're on the trail, but this is. I know I was cheating by giving you a close up of it, but then what can I say? All right. What about this one? Okay, who was first there? Uh, who said that? Melanie. Okay, so Melanie. Okay, next one. Okay, that was Pogue Creek, and that's over in Pickett State Park. We actually were supposed to have been over there this past weekend, but they've had wind, a lot of wind, very bad wind damage over there. And our friend that left G Creek, Hiwassee, is now over 10 of the parks over there. So she was saying to me just a couple of days ago, we'd communicated that if you got dropped down into the canyon, it's still pretty bad. So we're not ready to go yet. But I did say that if she needs a group to come over as a service project, to let me know, and we'll see about getting a group together to come over and do a little bit of work over there. Okay? Do I have anybody who will go with me? Ooh, look at that. All right. Yes. All right, here we go. Where's this? Yes, Melanie, you are doing good. Now, this is Black Mountain. It's in the Cumberland Gap or the Cumberland Trail system. So it's above Spring City on the way to Crossville. So, say again.
Close to Grassy Cove.
Yes, close to Grassy Cove. If you know where Grassy Cove is on the way to Crossville. Well, if you go with me, you'll find out. And Grassy Cove is a giant sinkhole. Beautiful. It's become a beautiful farm area. Crab orchard of no, is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can get to the terminus of the.
Yeah. It's a neat area up there. A lot of neat stuff on there. You'll see some of that here in a minute. Okay, got 2 questions here. These 2 types of trees, not the botanical or botanical. Pardon? So what? Nurse Creek.
Nurse trees.
Okay. All right. The first one over there is what? Look at the bottom. The not this bottom, that bottom. No, don't worry about the type of tree it is. But there is a descriptive name for a tree like that. No. It comes from the ocean. It has a lot of legs. The octopus tree. Okay. Whew, that was like pulling teeth. And what is this one normally? All right. Now the question here, you won that one. Now you got that. But if I were going to grading a person on this, but that's the answer I wanted. If you look at this, you'll see there's not actually a nose there. So this one has probably been formed through damage, with another tree laying on top of it or something. If you had the actual Cherokee marker tree, you would have it come this way, and then there would be a little nose here where they'd cut off the part that was actually tied to the ground. What they do is to take a twig and bend it to the ground and take leather lashing, and attach it there so that it's not going to move. And then as it starts to put the upright up, and which would be this, what they're doing is forming this so that it's going to point to either a hunting area, a village, something like that, or even a trail, just like our road signs. Cherokees used to have to go up north and fight the Iroquois. So that was the way they would mark a trail for the people that came behind them, and for those coming back, they wouldn't get lost. So when it won't move, when it's already in position, they can cut that lashing, and it'll stay in that position. But where they cut it, you'd usually see just a little nose out there. And then this part would be the part that grows back up. I'm sorry, I keep walking in front of you.
You're fine.
You want me to sit down and behave? Oh, good. Okay, so we're going to call it a Cherokee marker tree, because you'd have to kind of figure out if it really was or not. Okay, where's this hike? This is where?
Tallulah Falls.
Tallulah Falls, no.
Oh, I know. Snowbird.
Yep. This is we were going at this point. We're coming back up now. The crazy significance on this particular trail is that was one of the first hikes I did after the double mastectomy. So I couldn't carry the backpack yet, and so Barbara Allen decided that she was going to give me the cap off of her backpack to use as a backpack. Well, at least every 5 steps, it was falling down. It was I looked like a little boy that lost her pants. And so I left it up at the top. But we went down because I knew that coming back up, even though it was climbing, obviously back up, that I could use my legs more than my arms on the roots there of the rhododendron. But that was one of my very first hikes. After that, that was back in 2017. Okay, so Snowbird Creek Trail, that's trail number 64. Okay? All right. You never know what you're going to find on the trail. We ran into a lady in a wedding dress sitting there almost in tears one time because her brand new husband of just about an hour had gone up to the next set to get some pictures of the flowers there. And there she sat in this white wedding gown on the trail. Were you with me? No, you all were on the other end of it, weren't you? So I gave her some water. She didn't have any water, and she didn't have any snacks or anything. And finally, he came back. But, but I mean, seriously, a long train, the whole thing in this white lace wedding gown. So where's this? Gatlinburg Trail. That's right. This was another Halloween. I think it was a Halloween also. Okay, any more? All right, this one. Everybody should know this one.
Middle prong.
Middle prong. Okay, you got that many prizes? Middle prong. The story is there that the Cadillac, this is an old Cadillac, and it was pushed off of the road by the CCC superintendent. It was his car, and apparently it broke down, so they gave it to shove off. So it's still there, but now it has a tree on top of it.
Oh, no. And unfortunately, there's not much of it left either.
No.
All the so-called hikers that have gone up to there. And
Right. Now, this is another picture in that same area. This is another middle prong picture. Okay. Anybody hear a trail calling them yet? Just wait. All right, boots on the trail. October the 25th and 26th. The 26th is their actual hike date, and that's going to be at Grayson Highlands. How many of you have heard about the Grayson Highland ponies? Oh boy. Just don't carry an apple in your pocket. You may have a horse attached to your leg. But it is wonderful. We do have campsites for the 25th. If any of you sign up to go on this one, then if you want the campsite, you're going to have to just keep calling. That's what we had to do because we were trying to get some to be up there. So you're going to have to keep calling when we'll tell you what site, what campground. It's just right out there on the property. But when we can tell you more detail about that. But you'll have to keep trying to get a place, or as soon as we find out who has one of our group has a site, we'll see if we can double somebody with them. Okay, this was probably my first time up there, and that was when I was carrying a heavy camera. Yeah, this is before you go in there. Okay, this is looking at the map. You can figure that. What we're going to be doing is the Appalachian Trail at Grayson Highlands out to Wilburn Ridge, and then take Wilburn Ridge. That's a fun little climb. I love rocky trails. I just have the best time on them. But you'll have to work your way up this one. It's not like climbing with ropes or something like that, but there is a bouldering area out there. But this is just one of my favorite hikes ever. All the area grows fir trees for Christmas trees. So we used to go up every October and be there, and everybody thinks that to have all these trees in by Thanksgiving Day, they call them fresh Christmas trees, fresh cut. Baloney. These things are cut in October and put in freezers. Big freezers and kept frozen. They pack them in snow, and I can tell you because I was a horticulturist, they pack them in snow even to deliver them. You'll get them, and you'll be having to work the icy snow off of them for they've blown that trailer full of snow ice. Okay, but we'll go out to Wilburn Ridge and probably have lunch there and fiddle around and go on a little bit farther down the trail and work our way back. But that's marvelous. And here's what happens. This particular little guy is kind of the father of all of the ponies up there, just about. He was the stud there, the founding father, if you will, for many years, and he's just been retired, so he's not even there right now. But all of his offspring and others are. That was Fabio, and when he puts his head down, you can't even see there's a head in there. Look at that mane, isn't that gorgeous? But he was fathered and led all the most of the feral ponies in the herds up there. This is just wandering around. You'll be wandering around through all these little wild ponies. That's why I jokingly say don't have an apple in your pocket, because they like to get into your backpack or into your pocket and get the apples, which is not usually a problem for you. But if another one thinks, oh, look, Joe's over there and he's gotten into and found apples, then he can come over and try also, and the first one can kick and get you. So that's why I'm saying don't carry treats in your pockets or something if you go, because you don't want to get the ponies in trouble. Aren't they neat? Pretty little babies. Not babies. Although, Stephanie, I think I put your picture in here with this one's baby. Remember the little one that was laying on the ground? Maybe I didn't. Hmm?
They're obviously friendly.
They're wild. It's just like, yeah, 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 yeah. She was trying to take a picture of this little baby. It was a newborn, a fairly newborn, because it had cute whiskers. So it was asleep. Mama's over here, and she's down taking all these cute pictures of it. And Mama just came walking up and like, mm-hmm. and tried to get her apple. But I mean, obviously was not unfriendly. But I have seen when somebody's just sitting on a rock and they get the whole herd around them, then it can get a little bit dangerous. So just don't get yourself in that position. This is going up the trail there. I told you I like rocky trails. So is that enough rock? We're actually going to go in through there. I told Mo that I had your picture in here. I didn't know if I was going to have to run or not. But this is where you're going up this trail and get into the mountain that behind you there. Another picture of the trail coming to there. Rocky and climb. Rocky. I love Rocky. This in front of Stephanie is a little opening into the rocks that you go through. That's part of the trail. And you see right here, oh, I'm showing you over here. I should show you over here. Coming through here, you're going right through there and then out the other side. Now you may show you on mine. Could you see? Did I have you blocked? Okay, good. So, you would fit?
You guarantee I will fit?
I'll tie a rope on you, and if you don't, I'll pull you through. I got stuck in a cave one time. This was when I was high school age, I guess. And I was crawling through this little cave. I mean, a little opening, just bigger than me. And I thought, this is really stupid. I've got a perfectly good outside. Why am I doing in here? And as I was crawling, one elbow got hung down, and I couldn't get it out. And so the guy that I was with just kind of jerked it out and took all the skin off too. So I'm not a real cavey type person now. But this kind, yes. But to actually be down in a squeeze like that where you're laying on your stomach, I'm not real gung-ho on. And Woody will probably pick on me for the rest of my life now. But anyway, and this is where you're coming out the other side. I thought I had one in there actually showing somebody squeezing through. But this is breakfast up there. We were at the campground in Grayson Highlands for one of the tornadoes and hurricanes in October. Yeah, and it's several years ago. I don't remember which one it was. We just sat in the back of the truck and it was close enough that all the air, the air around you, the energy around you was green. And so we just sat there, and the rangers would come check on us, and they told us if we needed to evacuate, to just go up the road right to that first restroom up there, because it was 4 inches or 4 inches of concrete, so it was a safe place to hunker down. We never had to, but we just kind of sat there and watched it through the back of the truck. But it is a magnificent place. If indeed you can go, whether it's with us or on your own, it is definitely worth the drive. Okay.
How far is
That's kind of one of those questions, where are you going from? For us, it's what, 4 hours from Athens? Is that about right, Stephanie? Something like that.
You go to Abingdon,
Yeah.
Damascus, and
Yeah. So just put in your, who's somebody saying, wait, 3.5? Okay. All right. But it's worth it. It is.
And is the trial, you go 2.5 miles from the trail, or how far, how long is the trail?
The trail is part of the trail's part of the AT, so it's 2,000 miles plus. But she stuck her tongue out at me. I don't understand. Oh, Ruth, only you. I love it. We're going to make it kind of according to the group. We're probably looking at 7 or 8 miles at least, and more. This, I know Stephanie is not going to want me to tell this story again, but this was one of the trails. When I told you the story about a heavy backpack, and I didn't know why, and was that camera that you saw earlier, I had that, and I had a tripod over my shoulder, and I had a backpack on, and I didn't know. I mean, I knew that the camera was going to be heavy. This was to take pictures. That's all what we were doing there. And after, I guess, half a day, we sat down to have some water. We had water before that, but we sat down and had a snack, and took the backpacks off, and getting ready to pick them back up. Stephanie picked mine up, and she says, "Why is your backpack so heavy?" And I had been working. I was the horticulturist at Lowe's back then, the corporate horticulturist, and I was working. So Steph just packed her stuff up, because we were going to get it out of the truck and repack and do whatever we did. So we'd gone out on that hike just kind of really quickly. And so when she started getting into the backpack and opened it up, there was an iron skillet in it. She says, "Oh, I forgot to pack the iron skillets in it." So, yeah. But anyway, that's the story where that came from. So, okay. Now, everybody ready to keep going? Minnie wants to make sure that nobody needs water or snack. This is how she gets her allowance, by helping with the. Okay, number 2. Here's your Black Mountain Trail. This one, I believe, is between about 7 miles, 5 to 7 miles. You will have just about everything except wild horses. It is a really neat trail. It's fairly close to home, because it's before you get into Crossville. We will have to have a shuttle, because we're going to start from the top. I'm going to be nice to you and myself. We're going to start from the top and work our way down to the road, which is that 68, Steph? Okay. Or one of them. Okay. So this is, I'll show you in a minute. You'll see what you can see from this beautiful bluff here. This is a picture of Steph with her nephew on that same bluff. And there he is, looking out into the distance. That's a pretty neat view. This is that same bluff. Now, these steps, we've hiked a little ways here, and these steps It's probably about 20 something steps down. I don't remember. It may not be that much, but you see the space you have coming down through there. It's pretty good little squeeze sometimes, but there's plenty of room for you and your backpack, so don't worry about that. But that's a neat area. Once again, we're going to have rocks this quarter. And you're actually coming between, you have the steps right between there. You see the steps right back here? And you're coming on out this way. So you've got a little bit of a squeeze through there. Then you have, it's not really a cave, but there's a hole down in the left side there that I had 7 or 8 people in it one time. But you should have seen them trying to get out. It was like unpacking a can of tuna or a can of, what are those things? Sardines, yeah. You can tell I'm a vegetarian, right? Those little flappy things, you know. Okay, anyway. I don't even know why. It's bad enough that I can't even tell you what they taste like anymore, you know, much less even their name. Okay. That's it. That's where we had such a stuff of people. They were on top of each other. Just for the heck of it. So I could take a picture. I wanted to see Barbara Allen crawl in there, you know. If those of you who know Barbara, she's pretty game. She was officially the first what was it? The first woman to through hike the AT. No, what was it? Oldest. Yeah, she wasn't the first woman. That was Grandma Gatewood. Well, they're about the same age. So yeah, so she was for about 2 years the oldest woman to hike the AT. So she's neat. She goes out with us a whole lot still. Now, I know it looks like there's some kind of seance or something going on here, but what's actually happening is this big hole right here, you can drop stuff down it and not ever hear it hit. You can't, I have no idea. You can shine a light down it. You can't really see the bottom. I think there's water. I think I did hear, I dropped some big old rock in there one time, and I think I did finally hear a splash. But I have no idea how deep that hole is or what happens under that if it spreads out and becomes an underground stream or something. But yeah, that's what's going on. You've got a picture being taken and 2 people looking. So that's what the funny look that Kelly's doing is. And you can kind of see down, trying to, again, see what you can drop that you can see if you can hear it at all. So, but that's there. Don't plan on dropping me in.
Oh, come on.
And this is another cave. This is an actual cave that we go in. And if you I can't say that, we're recording. Never mind. But you can go back in a little ways and look around in the cave and see some really neat formations back through there. There's another picture of the entrance. And I will point out that there is now a sign here that says not to go in it. So
She had you run into many climbers when you're on that trail.
you find the boulders and people that are training to rappel. Yeah, there's a lot of that get on those first big ones that I showed you on here that will learn how to rappel and work their ropes from there. I love to rappel. Have any of you ever rappelled? Isn't it fun to go down Aussie style? Do you know Aussie style? Head first. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Now this is the inside of that cave, but you can go way back in there, but we're not allowed to. Okay. Who's laughing?
All I can think of when I see that snake.
Is all you can think of is what?
Actually, because you're not supposed to, we've never stepped far in it. See where we're standing here? That's just
Mhm.
right
Yeah.
where the water is.
We're not going to go on past that because there's signs
You
of.
can go way
Mhm.
back if you want. I mean, good.
Okay. And this was one neat thing that we found there, and it's the common milkweed, which is the seed pod for the milkweed. So, and isn't that a beautiful? Isn't that just beautiful? Okay, since we're talking about seed pods for milkweed, which butterflies like, and it's a time that right now monarchs are being um, nurtured. Um, I thought this was kind of appropriate. You're going to feel pretty stupid if it turns out that you're not a monarch sitting there with her little crown. We had a chance to raise some from the cocoon last year, and it's really, if you have an opportunity, it's really pretty cool. They didn't even wave goodbye, I don't think, but they were neat. Monarch, that butterfly. Oh, when is the hike? It's November the. They're they're just now getting most of them started to.
They're a little late.
They are okay.
That my friend who has them in her garden says,
Okay.
wonder who that is.
Yeah. Wonder who that is. Big Creek Trail is going to be a Christmas themed trail hike for us this year, and the elves tell me that it's that they've been pretty busy already, and they're waiting on their princess to come. Okay, believe it or not, this picture is probably close to what 20 years old. But this is where you enter the trail. This one is over on the other side of the park at the what's Port what Waterville exit. Yeah, thank you. So this is a neat one, but this one is pretty much water based. There's waterfalls and midnight hole and swimming area. Of course, by December 7th, it's probably going to be a little bit late to want to go swimming. But it's a beautiful hike that you'll enjoy. The campgrounds will be closed over there, I'm assuming by that time. They usually are, unless they're just going to stay open for whatever reason. I don't see that. But there's a lot of history behind this hike. Uh, it, and you know, we talk about all the nature. We talk about the bear. We talk about the deer. We talk about the wild boar. But there is more to nature. There's the insect community, and this is a granddaddy longlegs that's over there. He's probably not there now because that was taken a long time ago. And these guys can't hurt you. You know, they can't open their mouth wide enough to bite you and cause any problems. But he is probably one of the most toxic spiders there is, but he's not going to hurt you. And he's been eating on this leaf and doing what it takes to have food to sustain him. But they have their problems in their little society too. So here he is fighting somebody else, and so there's nothing different in their community or their circle than what we experience here with the two guys out fighting over something. But I wanted to show you some other things in nature. Now I know some people get squeamish when if I throw a picture up here like that, but these guys are not going to hurt you. So please, if you run into them, don't step on them. They like that scene too. They like being in nature. They like being out and not trapped and killed. This is an old lag boat, and when you find things like this old lag boat that's buried in the ground, it's not a little bitty bolt; it's a good size. But that's introducing to you that there was a community, there was a village of some sort, or a community um, that in this case was railroading and forestering and such. So this is introducing you to a new world that you're entering. When you cross that bridge, you've entered that world, and I'll be sharing a lot of that story with you at that time. There's always a cave. Here's another little cave. Um, I don't think I stuck anybody in that one yet, but that might happen this time. Who knows? Nope, wrong one. There we go. This is that same one from looking at a different angle. This is, I believe, the probably the blue hole. I'm not totally sure if that's the, but look at that water. Isn't that gorgeous? It's beautiful water. And it does come down, most everything's going to be some type of waterfall. But, and I remember seeing someone that thought they could, whatever, they were trying to ride that current through there. It was a couple of kids. You have to worry about them because they're trying to come off of that and into the white water. But isn't that beautiful water? This is just a matter of kind of going through the pictures and seeing the kind of beauty that's over there. Who knows what that is? Mm-hmm. Indian pipes. What would this tell me with that pipe hanging down? It tells me that this plant has already dropped its seeds. When you see it early and its pipe is up, then it's still bearing those seeds. And you'll see as it gets more ripe and ready to put those seeds out, then it gradually falls over and they just fall out. Okay? This is appropriate time. I know better than to have a cup of coffee after October. Bye-bye, thank you. Because this poor old bear can't go to sleep. And that leads me to tell you that the Great Smoky Mountains does not have hibernation, true hibernation for the bears. So especially the males can be out walking around all year round and looking for things to sustain themselves. Usually the females would be perhaps still in their den. How would you all like to wake up and all of a sudden you have 5 babies? I would think I'd been drinking. but that's kind of what happens. Now, there is something interesting that I've been telling most of my classes when we talk, that on bad years when the females don't have enough food to sustain life, they will not, the sperm will disintegrate or dissolve and they will not have a baby. Wouldn't that be nice if we could do that? Our population would be controlled if we can't sustain life, if we don't have the amount of food stored in our body or whatever to nurture that cub, then it's just not born. And it then goes back into the body. So that's the way the bears handled a lot of their own overpopulation. So anyway, I wasn't going to get up on any of that, but true story. Now, I'm going to give you really quickly, because we're running probably way over time since I've been running my mouth, to let you see a trail that I would love to take you on next year. So we can't do it this year. This is one that we just got off of Saturday. And it's not a long trail. We didn't do a huge section, but it's a magnificent section. And one that you're going to get everything. Plus, we had some dogs with us, so that was kind of cool too. We only took 2 of them on the major trail because I don't usually take many with me unless it's just 2 or 3 of us, and I can pay attention to what she needs as opposed to paying attention to what you need. So anyway, this is the John Muir Trail with number 152, and it connects to the Benton Mackay Trail number 2. So this is the group starting. Here's the sign. Look at the elevation in part of the trail. Now, we didn't do this whole trail. We only did a small portion. But look what you're going to get into. Okay? So just be aware. We're walking along, and Stephanie stopped, and she said, "What is this?" And there were all these roots hanging down. It's like a curtain of strings hanging down. And Anne decided to come up and go through them, but can you see it all? What Anne, the strings there around Anne, but they were just hanging from limbs like that, as though they'd been placed there. But it was a vine that was putting these roots out. And this is just, we still had beautiful blooms. Katrina, I believe that's your backpack, isn't it? I have never seen the water this low. These are solid rocks. It's beautiful. It was beautiful. It made a beautiful picture. But I don't think I've ever, and of course, Stephanie's been over there, and Melanie, you've been over there a lot. Have you ever, Melanie, seen it that low? So this is Miss Penny Parker down. See the little dog in the corner? That's Miss Penny Parker. She came with Jill and Natalie, and they just came for the hike. So Penny's Miss Energy Bunny. So I think she was actually tired by the end of that one. Did she go home and go to sleep good? I know Natalie had to be tired. Bless her. But this is just more of the rocks in that area. Once again, I like rocks. Keep going. So this is Penny Parker, the little one in the rear, and Natalie, who's back here with Jill. And they're making sure that their mama is taken care of. So they're guiding her across the trail. You really need to have your own trail guide that cares. This is looking out over the water there. Again, rocks. And we came off of some rocks that I actually had to sit down, or at least get into position kind of on my butt, because it was such a big step down. I'd had a hip replacement, so I wasn't sure about the length of that step. So a couple of times I looked like I'm flying, like here. You see, that's way over. It's about hit this high. So I figured I wasn't going to take a chance. Woody'd kill me. But these are some of the rocks we were moving through there. There's some more. This is the trail sign. It's where this particular one says that there's two of the diamond signs, which is the John Muir, and there's two two junctions there for the two trails to come together down here. And we had the neatest time because at that junction is where they would bring the rafts in. If they were just a rafting group or whatever, they'd bring those in, and they would meet and have snacks or their dinner or whatever. But while we're having our dinner, our lunch, we sit there and these rafts are all coming down, and these two or three of them would side back into where a little falls was happening, a little cascade, and they'd work with their paddles and side over into it. So they were learning how to make rescue attempts for swift water. And what it was the Nashville Fire Team was training the National Guard team how to do swift water rescue. So it was really cool. And they came in and had lunch with us. This big guy was the sweetest guy, and he just loved the animals so much. He just petted and petted her. His name was Evans, and he's with the National Guard. The ones in the red vest were National Guard, and the ones in the yellowish green were the Nashville Fire. And that's Jill. You see, there was actually 3 women on the National Guard team. Then we went from there up the road and walked up to the suspension bridge that crossed over to the TVA's Appalachia powerhouse. And it was pretty neat, the whole thing. Under the bridge, Whitewater, where all of the turbulence, and the power is being generated. And so that's where we were this past weekend. Now, let's see. Now, if Minnie were here, I would have to wake her up because it's time for her to talk now, because we have a special, and I can't see if it's, I think it's the next one coming up. And Melanie, this is kind of for you. It's because we had 9 dogs with us, and we were going on a little hike on Sunday morning, and we thought we wanted that to be for you and Radley. And I hope we'll be able to do this every year for the dogs that we love so much that can't physically be with us. I'm going to cry too. But here we go. This is Paws on the Trail for Radley. The first two, of course, Minnie and Sammy. Those are my babies. And then you've got Pud. Okay, this is Pud. Okay, can you see around me? Okay, Pud. Rosie, that's Barbara Allen's daughter. Desi, Sweet Pea, and Marvin. How old is Marvin? 15? 15 years old. And he's a cancer survivor. He's a cancer survivor. He has what? And he's probably, does he have on his sweater? He has on his snowman sweater. It was 80 degrees probably, and he wears that snowman sweater. But he loves it. When I was rehabbing from the Achilles detachment and the hip replacement, I did it at her house. And Marvin was known as Nurse Marvin because he was there all the time. I couldn't take Minnie out there. So Marvin just took me over. And when I had a friend who was a massage therapist come over and she was working on me, Marvin climbs up on top of me and lays there. So every time she wants to work at that area, she just pick him up and put him on another area. So that's Nurse Marvin, and it was our turn to give back to him because he had the cancer the last year, all this past year. And so it's time to give the love back. Now here's the clan. Marvin and Pud, Minnie, Sammy, Rosie. Down on the bottom left is Sweet Pea. How old is Desi? She's 13 or something like that? 13 or 14. Penny Parker, Natalie. So that's your cast of characters for the Paws on the Trail. They have their own cot to sleep on. Marvin's, I think, was thinking, why is Fatso here? little Pud's taking up the area. And I just had an armful. That's all I can say. Mine didn't need a cot. They had a big tummy to sleep on. And this one was just worn out. This was her first time to really have a chance to hike. Minnie thinks she's the leader, so we just let her think that. This is when they got halfway, they got a chance to cool off in the water. And this is Pud and Sweet Pea, Marvin, and back in behind this person, behind Beth, is Desi. And there's Pud swimming. She's getting herself cooled off. Minnie was wanting to say to everyone it's very important to stay hydrated. So she's showing that. Desi was cooling off as well. And Minnie, as always, was taking charge and wants you to know that it's now time if you have any questions and answers. It's open for the questions, and that we're going to proceed over into the camp store, and you can group attack Melanie.
Those are prizes to get for the tribute.
Okay, yeah. How do you sign up? You can either tell me here in a few minutes and I'll put your name on it, because what I do is to not give details until people are signed up for it. That way no one gets the details. They're not published, okay? And so we can just go and you know that you're in a safe conditions, and nobody knows necessarily, other than they always know where I am. So you're not out, in some hidden location. So just let me know and I'll put you on the list, and then you will be one of the ones that would get that letter when it goes out. If you, hang on one second, if you don't hear from me within just a few hours, because usually I'll check my pocket, and if I get it, then I'll comment back to you so you'll know that I've gotten your letter, your applicant request. So if I don't, send it again, because every once in a while they'll either get lost in the stack of them or go into a junk mail or something. Yes.
On the Little River website, you have a calendar there. You put all of these events, these 10 events.
I think they will be there. We put it on Little River. We put it on the Little River LRTC hiking group. I put it on mine. I put it on Hiking for Healing. And I don't know where all the places are that Woody has.
That's what she's talking about, is we have the hikes posted
Mhm.
on the Little River Trail's Facebook page, and we will also share them on the event calendar on Little River's website. Yes.
Okay.
So the location should be noted on the Facebook page unless it says to be decided.
Mhm.
And that is because if it says to be decided, it's because Dolphin is still figuring out where she wants to take the group. So, but the
Yeah.
3 hikes for the next 3 hikes coming up should be posted there.
Yeah. And these should be okay. What I've done is, not knowing what November and December are going to look like weather-wise, I've kept us down in December down lower, so that we're not getting up where we're going to really be cold or snowy or whatever. So that's one of the things that causes changes, is when we have to change according to the weather. And I hate it. I like being able to put it out there and you know where we're going, but I do have to respond to those type of situations. And if there was a forest fire or something going on and the smoke was coming through, there's another reason I wouldn't put you out in having to breathe heavy smoke or something. So I wouldn't do that to you. What else? Yes.
So for the one in November and December,
Mhm.
is it where you shuttle and meet here and then go? Or?
No, we would have to meet, because neither one, let's see, one of them, the one in December, we could meet here and go on over, but it's a long drive. There would be a place closer over there, but that's things that we will figure out, whether to carpool from here. It's according to, again, the types of parking and everything. All those details will happen at that time. I try to make it as easy as I can for everyone, and realize that if it's something over there, I live an hour and 10 minutes that way. So, I'll be really considerate of what you all are having to go through, because I'm going to be way over there too. Okay?
And all of that will be communicated via email,
Mhm.
a group email that goes out. So once you've signed up to hike, you say, I want to go to the October hike. You send that information to Dolphin before you sign up tonight. Then Dolphin will let you know, oh, okay, you got one of the spots, and expect some additional follow-up emails on the time that we're going to meet, the location that we're going to meet, those kinds of details.
Yeah, what you'll need to take.
Carpool, that
Mhm.
kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll get all of those things. And if you have needs, if you're having a car problem and need to ride with someone else, then I'll either suggest someone that lives in the area, or we'll do that when we meet, because someone will be taking the car and they can always usually put another person in. Because we try not to take a whole lot of cars, because we're increasing all of the toxins, through our exhaust and all, by taking a lot of cars. So we just, even the rubber, has toxins that comes off as you roll. So we try to be as eco-friendly as possible and make it easy on all of you. Okay? Any more? Any more? Melanie, you ready?